Hey guys, I'm back with another candle review, and this time around it's for the 14.5 ounce 3-wick Pistachio Milk and Honey candle from Bath & Body Works, part of the Spring 2025 Neutrals collection. This originally launched as a test fragrance in Wallflower and single wick, and then it must have done well enough in the test phase because then we got it as a semi-annual sale Wallflower available right now in the same name, and then of course the 3-wick full launch that we see here in this packaging. And the notes on this read toasted pistachio, cozy shea butter, and whipped vanilla musk. So to my opinion, or in my opinion, I believe this is kind of like the most gourmand interpretation of that very popularized pistachio cherry gourmand fine fragrance that we get that originated kind of from the Sol de Janeiro fragrance. And then we've gotten BBW's own spin-offs and variations of that sort of pistachio cherry gourmand fragrance in Sunset Glow. As well as the Vacation Vibe fragrance. And then kind of in a similar format, but more cherry, fruity forward, is the Sweetheart Cherry as well as the Perfect and Pink fragrance. And so they all have that sort of gourmand pistachio cherry fine fragrance. So if you're expecting something in this candle to be fully gourmand in a old school Bath & Body Works straight up gourmand treat route, I think going to be a little bit disappointed because there is quite a bit of like an inedible perfumey fine fragrance element to this fragrance, but it is still quite gourmand for fine fragrance standards. So what you get is definitely a very nutty pistachio, and I think it most varies differently from the sort of Perfect and Pink Sweetheart Cherry or even like the Sunset Glow, where those utilize often cherry and pistachio have a similar type of fragrance to it. But in this case, like it amps up more of the toasty, warm pistachio roastiness. And then the sort of very sweet, bright, fruity cherry notes take a back seat. So it's not exactly the same as those like cherry body care that we get from Sunset Glow or Perfect and Pink, but still a similar like feel to that is I guess what I'm trying to convey. But in any case, you do get a very roasty, toasty pistachio first and foremost. And it is mixed by a sort of warm coziness that you could interpret as like that sort of like, once again, an inedible shea butter lotion type of cozy creaminess definitely exists in here. And I think that's also where that sort of like popular milk texture is coming into play, is through that sort of creamy shea butter lotiony feel. And then also you do get heaps of like kind of a sort of sweetened honey vanilla blend does exist in here. The honey is nowhere near as urine-y as other previous, I guess, honey fragrances that I call out almost like a urine-y note to it. It is more of like sort of warm, creamy, just like natural sweetness that could, I guess, be interpreted as honey that just mixed with that sort of milky, creamy vanilla feel. And so you are getting a very toasty, gourmand, roasty pistachio fragrance with a milky, creamy, sort of lotiony vanilla milk honey undertone is what's coming out here. But what's not listed is, I believe, the fine fragrance sort of interpretation of this fragrance, which would include a floral and a sandalwood note. And so I do get a similar type of that kind of like, imagine like a sugared or like a sweet like body care jasmine fragrance with definitely a woodsy, deep, cozy, like sandalwood undertone is laced in here that is very reminiscent of the sort of middle and bottom notes that you would get from your like sort of Sol de Janeiro, Vacation Vibe type of fine fragrance. And so that's kind of what this comes off as. So if you're expecting something like a full-blown old school Bath & Body Works, like straightforward gourmand pistachio milk and honey, which is kind of what the name would imply, it's not quite that. It's definitely more of this fine fragrance type of like cosmetic body product interpretation of this fragrance. Comparing it to like toasted pistachio and vanilla, I would say that one goes a little less on that sort of floral sandalwood undertone, and it's more of a like toasty, roasty gourmand, but still a little less inedible than a like pistachio biscotti fragrance. But it does share a similar toasted pistachio note to that toasted pistachio and vanilla. But this fragrance, I would say, is a little bit more creamy, a little bit more subtle, a little bit more, I guess, floral in a fine fragrance type of way, and also just much lighter and just weaker in general than the toasted pistachio and vanilla. But if you're looking for the most gourmand, cozy, roasty version of that sort of popularized Sol de Janeiro type of spin-off fragrance, then this is going to be that for you. This is a third burn on this candle, has a thick rope-like wicks on it. It does set quite a bit if you don't keep them trimmed, so make sure you trim them as usual with these type of candles. It does do quite a bit of that sort of murky black swirly action is what I've been getting from this candle, so it does kind of start seeping into the wax pool, and then when it dries there is like a film of like black residue around it, so just sort of keep on top of that as well. As for the throw, I have to say I'm a little disappointed with this candle. It's definitely more in the light range. I'm just not understanding why so many of these spring candles are so light. I was burning another like 3-wick candle brand in my house at the same time, and that was just so much more stronger than this that I was like, am I like, coming down with something where I can't smell these BBW candles? But sure enough, I burn a different brand 3-wick and like I can smell it no problem. So it definitely seems like it's these spring candles for whatever reason that I seem much weaker than I'm used to or that I like from Bath and Body Works. I would say maybe like a 3 in a primary bedroom. Like I can smell it and it's a background fragrance. I would say 3 to a 4 maybe, and then maybe like a 3 in an open concept area. It does kind of get lost in an open concept area that I have to go sniffing for it. It's not unscented, but I can't even say it's even in the medium range. I would say 3 to a 4 light is where this candle is kind of lingering. I think if it was stronger, I might just appreciate it more just because I can get more of that fragrance just like blasting in my face. But as now, it's kind of like I have to go hunting for it. That it's a nice cozy ambient fragrance that are probably fine for more casual candle burning consumers. But I think for us here on this channel, it's going to be maybe a little bit disappointing in terms of how light it is. Overall, I think the fragrance is pleasant enough. Once again, I think maybe a little bit of disconnect from if you're expecting a full-blown gourmand. This does have more of that sort of fine fragrance undertone to it, which I don't mind. And I also I guess like that. I'm kind of like played out or sick of that usual cherry pistachio, but I like that this one leans a little bit more roasty gourmand, and there's a coziness to it and a very like early January, February appeal where it's like, it's really nice, like even like it's snowing outside right now. It's just kind of a nice, comforting, like wraps you up in a blanket type of fragrance that it feels very comforting and homey in a very pistachio milk and honey kind of way that I appreciate that. But I think it's just the lighter throw that leaves a little bit more to be desired. And yeah, I do have the SAS Wallflower. I haven't used it yet, so I do look forward to trying that out and seeing if I can maybe get a little bit more of a better read on this fragrance once the Wallflower is going. But as the candle stands in its performance now, based on the one that I'm reviewing right here, it's not a repurchase, but I wouldn't necessarily like not recommend it to someone. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.